y'all. I'm Pastor Janice, and I work here at Wesley United Methodist Church. I work mostly with the older people, but I taught third grade for 30 years, and so I love children, and I love children's books. And I'm going to read you one of the stories that I read to my school children a long time ago as I was teaching them, because we lived in Texas, which is close to Mexico, and actually my last church was only 2 miles from the United States-Mexico border. The book that I'd like to read to you is The Legend of the Poinsettia. It was retold and illustrated by Tomie dePaola. And it's about the poinsettia. Poinsettia we see all around, and we usually have them in our house at Christmas time or in our churches, and you can see them outdoors in windows and as you're walking around. They're a beautiful flower. But this is a legend. It's a story that the Mexican people have made up to tell children when they ask, why does the poinsettias have such beautiful flowers, and they just grow wild in Mexico? The legend of the poinsettia. Lucida lived in a small village high up in the mountains of Mexico with her mama, her papa, and her younger brother and sister, Paco and Lupe. Paco worked in the fields with their burro, Pepito. Every evening, Lucida fed Pepito, gave him fresh water, and filled his stall with clean straw. At home, Lucida helped Mama clean their casita, their little house, and pat the tortillas for their meals. She took care of Paco and Lupe, and each evening they went to the shrine of the Virgin of Guadalupe, that's their church, near the front gate to see if fresh candles were needed. But every day was not work. On Sundays, the family went to San Gabriel in the square, where Padre Alvarez said the Mass. All through the year, there were fiestas and holy days, which always began with a procession that wound through the village and ended in San Gabriel. And you will see the picture of the large church that they went to. One day, close to Christmas, they call it La Navidad, Pastor Alvarez came to the casita. "Ah, Senor Martinez, buenos dias, good day," Padre Alvarez said. "I'm here to ask you about the blanket which covers the figure of baby Jesus. It's in the Christmas procession. We have almost used the same one for so many years that it is worn out. Because your weaving is so fine, I've come to ask if you would make a new one." "Mi padre," Lucida's mother said, "I would be so honored, and Lucida would help me." And there's the picture of Padre and Lucida and her mama. On Saturday, Lucida and Mama went to the market to buy the wool for the blanket. They chose the finest yarn they could find. At home, Lucida helped Mama dye the wool the colors of the rainbow. "Those colors will shine throughout the church," Papa said as he watched Lucida and Mama string the yarn on the loom. As Christmas drew closer, everyone in the village was busy. All the mamas were making gifts to place at the manger of baby Jesus in the church, and the papas worked putting up the manger scene in San Gabriel. Lucida and the other children went to the church for singing practice for the Christmas Eve procession, where everyone would walk to San Gabriel singing and carrying candles. Once inside, Padre Alvarez would lay the figure of the baby Jesus in the manger, and the villagers would go up and place their gifts around it. "Our gift will be the blanket for baby Jesus," Lucida told her friends. "I'm helping Mama weave it." And you can see the people that are getting ready for their church for the Christmas service, where they're going to have the parade into the church. One afternoon, a few days before Christmas Eve, Lucida and the children were singing in the church when Senora Gomez came hurrying in. "Lucida, you must come home. Your mama is sick and your papa has taken her down to the town to see the doctor. You must take care of her brother and sister until your papa returns tonight." Lucida was frightened. Mama had never been sick before. When she got home, Paco and Lupe were crying. They were frightened too. Lucida tried to comfort them. She made some food and sat down to wait for Papa. That evening, Papa came in looking tired and worried. He drew Lucida close and said, "Lucida, mi niña," that means my daughter, my child, "your mama is ill. Your aunt, Tia Carmen, must take care of Mama until she is well, and I must go back and stay with Mama until I can bring her home. But it won't be till after Christmas. Senora Gomez will take care of you and Paco and Lupe while I'm gone. She will come for you tomorrow." next afternoon, Lucida overheard two women talking. Lucida's mother is ill and she won't be able to finish the blanket for the procession. Isn't it a shame? See, that means yes, the other woman said. We are all so disappointed. Padre Alvarez will have to use the old worn-out one. When Lucida went home to feed Pepito and get the clothes for Paco and Lupe and herself, she looked at the unfinished blanket on the loom. Perhaps I can finish it, she thought. But when she got down and tried to weave, the yarn got tangled. The more she tried to untangle it, the worse it got. It was no use. She could never finish it by herself. And you'll see the picture of her trying to start the loom to weave. But this is what it looks like when she finished. She took the unfinished blanket to Senora Gomez. Oh, Lucida, it is so tangled, there isn't time for me to fix it, Senora Gomez told her. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Lucida started to cry. It was her fault that the blanket was ruined. Her family now wouldn't have a gift to place at the manger of the baby Jesus. Don't worry, Lucida, we will all go to the procession together. Lucida didn't say anything, but in her heart, she felt she had ruined Christmas. Come, Paco, come, Lupe, it is time to go to the procession, Senora Gomez called on Christmas Eve. Where is Lucida? She was nowhere to be found. Lucida was hiding, and you can see her in this picture. You can see her, the people in the parade, getting ready for Posada, and she's hiding. She is afraid that she's ruined everything. From the shadows, Lucida watched everyone gather for the procession. The candles were lit, the singing began, and the villagers walked to San Gabriel carrying gifts to place at the manger. Lucida walked along in the darkness and watched the procession parade go into the church, followed by Padre Alvarez carrying the baby Jesus. Little girl, are you Lucida? An old woman stood in the shadows nearby. And this is a picture of Lucida talking to the old woman. See, that means yes, Lucida answered, wondering who that lady was. I have a message for you. Your mama is going to be fine and your papa will bring her home soon. So you don't have to worry. Go now into the church and celebrate Christmas with the others. Paco and Lupe are waiting for you. I can't, Lucida told her. I don't have a gift for the baby Jesus. Mama and I were weaving a beautiful blanket, but I couldn't finish. I tried, but I only tangled it all up. Ah, Lucida, any gift is beautiful because it is given, the old woman told her. Whatever you give, the baby Jesus will love, because it comes from you. But what can I give now? Lucida said, looking around. A patch of tall green weeds grew in a tangle nearby. Lucida rushed over and picked up an armful of the weeds. Do you think these will be all right? Lucida turned to ask the old woman. But the old woman was gone. Lucida walked into the church. It was blazing with candlelight, and the children were singing as she walked down the aisle with a bundle of green weeds in her arm. There you can see two pictures of her walking down and having these weeds that she had just pulled up. What is Lucida carrying? A woman whispered. Why, she's bringing weeds into the church, another one murmured. Lucida reached the manger scene. She placed the green weeds among the stable. Then she lowered her head and prayed. A hush fell over the church. Voices began to whisper. Look at the weeds. Lucida opened her eyes and looked up. Each weed was tipped with a flaming red star. The manger glowed and shimmered as lit by 100 candles. Guess what the weeds turned into? They turned into this beautiful flower we call the poinsettia. That's really a miracle. When everyone went outside after the Mass, all of the clumps of tall green weeds throughout the town were shining with red stars. Lucida's simple gift had indeed become beautiful. And every Christmas to this day, the red stars shine on top of green branches in Mexico. The people call the plants La Flor de Nochebuena, the flower of the Holy Night, but we call it Poinsettia. I hope you've enjoyed this story. I've enjoyed reading it to you. I hope you have a good night, a cozy, something to sleep with, and we'll see you soon. Bye.